Presentation of Fox Sports.
We are Baltimore. We are St. Louis.
This is St. Louis Cardinals baseball from Dodger Stadium in Los Angeles. Game number 2 between the St. Louis Cardinals and the LA Dodgers. He's moving up the list in terms of home runs. Popped one last night. Kubota Power Stats, that's Aledmys Diaz, the Cardinals shortstop. He has 6 along with Jeremy Hazelbaker and Matt Holliday, and tied with the team lead at 7, Matt Carpenter and Brandon Moss. Jim Hayes is here. That's the Cardinals Hall of Famer Jim Edmonds. I'm Dan McLaughlin. We left spring training in Jupiter, Florida, Jimmy. We weren't sure what this team would be like offensively. We found out they're pretty good.
Offensively, their power numbers have taken off since spring training. You can see Carpenter, Holliday, and Moss. You expect Diaz and Hazelbaker coming out of nowhere, but it providing a lot of offense for this team, and it's really a surprise, but not a surprise in my eyes so far.
Well, let's take a look at what we have coming up. It's our Budweiser What's on Tap, and that means it is Carlos Martinez, the right-hander. It's been over a week since he took to the mound. And against the Dodgers, very good numbers for the right-hander. 2-1, that's a look at your Budweiser What's on Tap. Brought to you by T-Mobile. And some of the news and notes: David Ortiz passed Ernie Banks and Eddie Matthews, 513 home runs now. Steven Strasburg, he's 6-0 in 8 starts. And Aroldis Chapman has been activated by the Yankees this past week, and he's paying off 3 innings and 5 strikeouts thus far. Kia in the driver's seat, it is Carlos Martinez, and on the road he's been outstanding with an ERA that sits under 3. He gets the call tonight. Baseball is next. The Los Angeles Dodgers with a record of 19-17. The Cardinals, identical record. And we are underway from Dodger Stadium, and the first pitch from Scott Kazmir is a strike to the Cardinal leadoff man, Matt Carpenter. Jim Hayes, Jim Edmonds, Dan McLaughlin with you in Game 2 of this weekend series on the West Coast against Los Angeles. It was 2 walks and an 0 for 2 night for Matt Carpenter in Game 1. And a high fly ball lifted out to left. There's Carl Crawford and also the center fielder, Jock Peterson, and he takes it for the out. Scott Kazmir, the 32-year-old, he's 6'2", 200 pounds. His record stands at 2-3. In his last start, gave up 4 runs on 6 hits and 5 2/3. Took a 4-2 loss to the Mets. Gave up 2 home runs, and he's given up 9 on the year. Something to keep in mind as we go along in this telecast tonight. And also, Jimmy, I wonder how patient the Cardinals will be. He threw just 12 first pitch strikes to 27 hitters in his last start against the Mets.
That's something they are definitely aware of, and you can see right there, just trying to paint away with the first pitch and then try to come back with a nasty pitch. That sometimes will get you in trouble against good teams.
2 balls and no strikes. Piscotty pops it up on a 2-0 pitch. Adrian Gonzalez in foul territory, puts it away for the out, and quickly there's 2 away. The Cardinals have a lineup that features Matt Carpenter, Stephen Piscotty, and Matt Holliday here in the first. Then Brandon Moss, Yadier Molina, Randall Grichuk, great catch last night. Jed Jerko, Aledmus Diaz, second in the league in hitting, and the pitcher Carlos Martinez. Holiday 4 for 9 lifetime with 2 home runs against Kazmir. Last time we saw this lefty pitch against St. Louis, and he has made 2 starts, 1-0. His last start against St. Louis was in May of 2010 when he was a member of the LA Angels.
Early in his career, he was known as pretty much a strikeout pitcher. Good smooth release point, hard fastball. Went through a few years of not being healthy and not having those strikeout totals, and then back to the pitcher that he used to be.
1 ball, 1 strike.
92 for a lefty. The ball sinking and running is still very good velocity.
Age of 23, back in 2007. The youngest strikeout champion in the American League since Frank Tanana. He was 22 with the Angels in 1975. And in that season, he struck out 239. I mean, this guy could be very, very good. And the 2-1 pitch. All kinds of injuries with the Dodgers, in particular with their rotation. So they went out and got Kazmir, who has spent his entire career prior to this season in the American League. Really took some off that. 74 miles an hour, and it's 3-2.
Even a guy like this tried to stay healthy. You could see the strikeout totals were up, but the most strikeouts he had in 1 year were the year he started the most games. So he's gonna, if he gets out there every day, he's got good stuff.
Fastball at 93, and he strikes out Holiday and comes back to get him. Carlos Martinez to the mound when we come back. He played here in Los Angeles. Now the skipper of the Dodgers, his lineup tonight: Chase Utley, Corey Seager, and Justin Turner. Adrian Gonzalez, Yasmani Grandal, a switch hitting catcher, Jock Peterson, Yasiel Puig, 3 hits last night, Carl Crawford, and Scott Kazmir, who is 3 for 35 in his career. It's Carlos Martinez getting the call tonight. 24-year-old is making his 7th start of the year. Hasn't pitched in over a week. And his last time out, his start was cut short due to a respiratory illness. Just went 3 1/3 against the Pirates. Remember, he was slated to work on Thursday night, pushed back 2 extra days. And apparently he lost 15 pounds in 10 days with that illness. Fastball to the backstop, and that's how we start the game for Carlos Martinez.
I was going to say, I'd be curious to see how not only his control is today, his velocity and his stamina. So it'll be something to watch as this game goes on.
Chase Utley, this guy has been a heck of a player. 6-time All-Star, 4 Silver Sluggers, 13 years with the Phillies. And remember, he replaced Placido Polanco, very good Cardinal for a number of years. Polanco was in the deal to get Scott rolling. Backing up, Moss off his glove with time and throws it too hard and underneath the glove of Carlos Martinez. So the errors continue for the Cardinals. The second error on Brandon Moss.
Corey Seager.
That looked like just like a routine high hopper. Just didn't catch the ball in the web of his glove.
The Cardinals lead all the baseball in errors. Around the horn presented by Dobbs. And he still had time to not throw a 95-mile-an-hour sinker. Here's Corey Seager.
The thing about this game is it's so fast already. And when you make a little mistake, your brain makes the game speed up so much faster. You have to be able to slow down and gather yourself. And the hardest thing for some players to do is just eat it. Just hold on to the ball. They're obviously had plenty of time.
Double play ball flipped by Jerko to Diaz for 6-3.
There he had plenty of time to throw the ball over to first base, but your mind is going so fast and you can't really tell where the guy is running down the line. You want to pick it up and throw it so hard. Pitcher's not ready for that.
Hyundai pitch arsenal for Carlos Martinez. Less velocity this year, but still with that tick or two down in velocity, it's been better control, more ground balls, and he features a fastball, a curve, and a changeup.
To me, it looks like he's purposely gone and taken a little bit off. Doesn't look like he's trying so hard early in the count. You can see a difference right there between that pitch and his first couple pitches. Tries to kind of find a groove and not really go too hard too early, make some good pitches. Then he's got still 95 to 97 in the tank if he needs it.
That's the thing. It's almost like two different pitches. You know, if he wants to throw 92, 93 with better control, maybe a little bit more movement, he's got it. But in that same at bat, he can reach back and get you at 97, 98.
The one thing you got to be careful as a pitcher when you let off is not really letting off your mechanics, and you can see he kind of cuts the ball off once in a while, and you can kind of tell he's just throwing a get me over fastball. The problem with that sometimes is the ball won't sink. It'll just run. And if that starts to happen, you can't really control that run and stays up in the zone.
Moss to Martinez that time makes the play. So Martinez pitches around the air. And a smile for Brandon Moss. There's no score.
Hey fans, it's time to play.
Pitch arsenal. Jimmy talked about the very good fastball. Nearly 70% of the time he'll mix in the slider, the curve, and the changeup. This is his 12th major league season. So he picked up career win number 100 back on May 3rd against Tampa Bay. That was the team that he broke in with to the big leagues. Brandon Moss looks at a breaking ball and a strike. Moss is hitting .234, leads the club in strikeouts with 34, but with the strikeouts you take the power and the extra bases. 7 home runs this year. In his starts for the Dodgers this season, there's been 7 of them prior to tonight. They have dropped 5 of those 7 games. And he carves up Moss for the second strikeout tonight. Dobbs Tire and Auto Center's defense for the Dodgers with Crawford in left, Peterson in center. Puig, 4 outfield assists, is in right. Turner, Seager, Utley, Gonzalez along the infield. Yasmani Grandal is behind the plate. Yadier Molina now batting .341. 6th overall in the National League. So you have a shift. Where do you throw it after a strikeout?
You throw it to deep short. To the cutoff man.
Here's a 1-1. Molina serves it into right. Puig diving for it and makes a great catch. Yasiel Puig takes a hit away from Yadier Molina.
Yasiel got a great jump right there. He's playing shallow because he knows Yadi likes to just kind of serve the ball in the right field, and he really picks that right off the ground. Great camera angle.
Those are chancy plays for an outfielder. That ball gets by him. Molina's at third.
The bad part about that is you've already made your break and you're in no man's land. And if you don't catch that ball, or if you run too hard to catch it and you realize you can't, you're going to wear it off the body somewhere. Run in there and kind of just try to body block it.
Chest.
Wrist is the worst.
Ouch.
Thumb.
Here's Grichuk. Took a home run away last night. What have you seen with Randal Grichuk here at the plate? He's only hitting .205.
You know what? Early on, looked like he was just having a tough time seeing certain pitches, maybe laying off slider, pitch recognition. Slowly starting to looks like he's getting a little bit more comfortable. Got to be ready to hit the fastball.
Out in front, off speed pitch. That's been a good pitch here early on.
He's already used all of his weapons. You can see he's got a good changeup. The thing about this is the sneaky fastball will make everybody commit before you can really read the off speed stuff.
The 2-2. Just like that.
I mean, 93 from a lefty, especially sneaky. Some guys 93 looks like 97, and some guys 97 actually looks like 93. Kerry Wood and Matt Pryor are like that, or Mark Pryor, sorry. Kerry Wood through 97, and you could see it. Mark Pryor through 93, 94, and it looked like 98.
Smooth. So Kazmir, his 3rd strikeout in 2 in the inning. At Randal Grichuk, we talked about the great play he made last night. With more on that, let's check in with Jimmy.
Dan, if you ever needed proof that father really does know best, look at the case of Randal Grichuk. Grichuk was very upset with himself that he wasn't able to pull back the Albert Pujols home run in Anaheim. It ticked off his glove. Grichuk told me he was sharing his disappointment with his father, who was in Anaheim and is also here in L.A. And he told his dad, or he told me that his dad said there will be other chances to make a catch like that. Randal said he disagreed. He told his dad he could wait for years to get another chance to rob someone of a homer. So as it happened, first at bat for the Dodgers last night, Grichuk climbed the wall in center, robbed Howie Kendrick. Grichuk told me his first thought last night was that he'll never doubt his father again. See, Dan, father knows best.
I like it. Father knows best. That great play there by Randal Grichuk. Martinez hops off the mound, and it is a foul ball. Called foul. No, he called it fair. Initially, it looked like he called it foul. Then he was more passionate about the call, called it fair, and again, the Cardinals defense lets him down here in the bottom of the second. That should be an out.
This ball probably should go foul, but I don't think it was going to. It looked like it was just going to stay right on that line. You can see the rush again right there. Pick up the ball. He knows he's by him. Your mind starts to panic. Just a little bit too much on the throw.
It's ruled a hit. And a fastball taken outside by Yasmani Grandal. Again, though, that's a situation that should be another out for the Cardinals. Either you make the play, you go get it. I think what happened there is the hesitation caused him to rush. Now you have a man at first.
Looking at that again, it looked like that ball was going to go foul. And there's that fine line, too, there. You get a chance to get Adrian Gonzalez out with a little nubber. You're going to try and take it. And then everything speeds back up.
Cardinals turned a double play in the bottom of the first, and that swung on and missed. You may notice the uniforms the players are wearing around Major League Baseball today. Right above the bird on the bat, that is the Play Ball Weekend patch that the players around the game are wearing. League-wide effort by MLB and all 30 clubs to engage baseball fans to play the game, participate in baseball and softball. And it's held on to by Molina. First strikeout. We turn to Jim Edmonds Toyota, key to the game.
Number 31, Jock Peterson.
I went to go say this earlier today. We talked about this slowing down the game on defense, and I don't know if I jinxed it and didn't say it early enough, or it's already kind of been appropriate, but slowing down the game on defense is going to be key with Martinez and that sinker. Look for a lot of ground balls and just make some nice routine plays.
Brings in Jock Peterson. One out runner at first, and Peterson pops it foul and out of play. Against the Dodgers, very good numbers for tonight's starter Carlos Martinez. Had 2 starts last year against LA. Won 3-1 in St. Louis, 2-1 here at Dodger Stadium. And he worked 7 innings in each of those games.
Looked like Jock Peterson was looking for that get me over fastball and got the surprise 97.
I've had so many fans ask me about the absence of Jose Oquendo and what kind of impact that's made on the Cardinals defense. Positioning, just the comfort level that they have with those Jose Oquendo, that's part of it, potentially.
A lot of it too is, especially for like a guy like Carlos, is the Latin language barrier and being very comfortable with he's got Yachty, but with Oquendo, and it's like having a father there. You know, he walks over and he taps you on the shoulder, and There's nothing like that home cooking for language to calm you down. They don't have to try to explain stuff in English, Spanish, back and forth. It's just go right to him and talk to him the way he's been spoken to his whole life, and just give it ease, you know, that little air of ease to just settle down. It's going to be fine. Go out there and get a ground ball.
It's the anniversary of a famous Jose Oquendo game. It was May 14th, 1988. He was the first non-pitcher since 1968 to record a decision. A 19-inning game against the Atlanta Braves at Busch Stadium. 19 innings. And Jose pitched in that ball game and took a decision. First walk issued by Martinez. Follow the Cardinals with MLB.com @bat app. Stay up to the moment at any moment with Game Day live audio and video. It's for your baseball on the iPhone or your app. Prior to last night, Puig was 3 for his last 24. He had 3 hits, though, in game 1 of this series. So how did he break out of the slump? Electronic stimulation machine. He put that on his bats prior to the game yesterday. He said to extract hits from slumping bats. You'll do anything, right?
Never tried that one.
No. Were you a superstitious guy at all?
You know what? Not to the point where it would bother me in the course of the day. If I was in the same vicinity or doing the same things at the right time, yes. If not, and things were different, you know, if you didn't get on time with the way your day was going, I would just keep rolling with it. I wouldn't change and go backwards. Wouldn't do a 360 and turn around and go here and there just to kind of catch up on time frame. Just went with the day, and if it happened, it happened.
But we know there are some great superstitious players in the game of baseball, all over the place.
One superstition I had was if I had a bat that didn't have any hits in it, I would throw it in the trash.
Get rid of it.
It's not going to work. It's funny. Sometimes you can just pick up a bat and right in the middle of a hitting streak, if it's a little off on the ounces or doesn't feel right, get halfway through a game, toss it and start over. Albert did that a lot.
Did he really?
Yeah, he would. I've never seen a guy be so great and use so many different types of bats.
2-1 pitch to Puig and a double play ball. Diaz to second, the turn, and the Cardinals turn their second double play of the night. 6-4-3 started by Aledmys Diaz. The flip to Jed Jerko over to Brandon Moss. We played 2 and there's no score.
World famous Farmer John Dodger.
Ball is brought to you by Bud Light. Please drink responsibly. by Chevrolet. Visit your local Mid-America Chevy dealer for great prices on the all-new 2016 Malibu. And by Menards. Save big money at Menards on all your home improvement needs. Nothing like hearing Bohemian Rhapsody on the organ. Nothing like it, Jimmy. A strike to Jed Jerko, and we're underway here in the third. Happy 88th birthday to Virginia Cherry, mother of C.J. Cherry, who's been with the Cardinals for a number of years, as Jerko singles into left field. So happy 88th to Mrs. Cherry.
I got one for you.
Yes,
How about
sir.
happy 88th birthday to Rosemary Kovarik, longtime Cardinal fan.
Now you're getting in the swing of this.
See?
When you start doing games, your phone will go off with birthday wishes.
This has been going on for at least 24 hours now.
Trust me.
Happy birthday to both people. 88.
Here's a Ledmus Diaz. Daniel Murphy still hitting above 400. He's at 405. Diaz checks in at 387. 13 doubles, 6 home runs. His power numbers have been incredible to start this year. Doubled and homered last night. 1 ball, 1 strike. You've talked about it a lot, just how quiet his hands are. Not a lot of extra motion. Very confident looking inside that batter's box.
I like it. He's just very smooth at the plate. Thing is, normally a guy like this, not a real big guy, smooth, kind of just throws his hands at the ball, line drive hitter, doesn't have this kind of power. And when he hits the ball in the barrel, it doesn't matter where it's going. It is taking off the bat. Like it is, he's been hitting rockets all over the field, not just in the stands.
Here's a 1-1. And we didn't see it the last couple of years in spring training. But what we're told is that the Cardinals, are they a little surprised by what they're seeing? Sure. I mean, he's doing it at the big league level. He's putting up historic numbers. But there were signs that he was starting to turn into the player that we're watching right now, in particular, end of last season at Memphis and the Arizona Fall League. Diaz yanks it down the left field line and foul. Long journey for Diaz to get here, along with Yasiel Puig. They both defected in 2012. And Puig burst onto the scene in the major leagues. Diaz, it took a while. You may recall he had 18 months in which he did not play in a competitive game. Issues with getting into the country. Then battled some injuries early on. And Puig was the story of baseball for a while. Talking with Ledmus during spring training, he said these guys are considered heroes in their country. Leaving the country, making it to the big leagues. 2-2. Could be 2. Glove by Seager. Utley not in time. May 20th. This Friday, 30,000 fans ages 16 and older receive an exclusive Yadier Molina Garden Gnome. 200 lucky fans receive a gnome with either a gold or platinum glove to commemorate Molina's many awards. Get your tickets at cardinals.com/promotions. Makes you wonder if something's not quite right that they're seeing here with Kazmir.
After just made a great pitch with the changeup.
Why would he be coming in with Carlos Martinez coming out?
This is like a timeout with basketball, and the team gets chewed out.
Well, this is past the 30 seconds. Let's go.
Shot clock is expired.
Yeah. I mean, even if he wanted to talk about what they want to do defensively in terms of how to play the bunt, he could relay that from the dugout.
Interesting. Just another question for the cat at the end of the game.
Absolutely. One out runner at first. That's Jed Jerko, who singled to left field. Martinez is 3 for 14. Does have one sacrifice.
Just think about him running out there in that situation and all the years guys on the field have been in the game, and it's always that fine line of being a veteran and a manager or coach, or just like I said, even a veteran, of when to yell and scream and when to pat someone on the back and when to really be vocal. And it's so sketchy.
Ground ball to short, off the glove of Seager. The second time the Cardinals have done that this year with Carlos Martinez, in which he shows bunt, then swings away.
Number 13,
maybe that's what he went out to tell him.
Yeah. Aaron Seager, his 5th. But again, that's something that's gone over time and again. Scouting reports before the games. Really odd.
No, you're right. I don't think that had anything to do with it. I think he probably saw something he didn't like.
Now you have Carpenter with runners at first and second. And he drops down a bunt. Kazmir only played to first and fires a strike to Gonzalez. So the sacrifice for a guy that is driven in 25. I don't know about you, but I like to see Carpenter swing the bat.
As good as Carp is, you always want to see him swing the bat. Maybe, obviously, he's not trying to bunt the ball back to the pitcher. So we keep going over these situations. This game's a lot harder than it looks. But yeah, I mean, he's such a great hitter. Patient with the zone.
So runners at second and third. The Cardinals lead all of baseball with 75 2-out RBIs.
Maybe Piscotty told him he was locked in.
Maybe so. And if it pays off, I'm all for it. If not, I want to see Carpenter swing the bat. Two outs, 2 on for Stephen Piscotty here in the top of the third. Kept in front by Grandal. Little check swing. Kazmir. Tough play here. The runners are hung up if they did not get him out. Martinez had run to third. Diaz had hesitated. All for naught, though, as they get Piscotty with the check swing. So the Cardinals strand 2. For all of us, this is probably our final time this year here at Dodger Stadium. Game tomorrow on ESPN, and we all had the chance to visit with Vin briefly before the game. His final year, 67 seasons behind the microphone. Began with the Brooklyn Dodgers in 1950, made the trek out west. Numerous Hall of Fames, but all the way back in 1982, the Baseball Hall of Fame. He's been the voice of the Dodgers through 12 different presidential terms. It's incredible. 12 different, from Truman. That's when it began, to now Obama. Does the game by himself.
Your knowledge of the world is amazing.
Wow, that's amazing.
He didn't even move. You know what they say? When you catch that ball, the ball caught you.
Pitcher number 29, Scott Kazmir.
That's just reaction.
It just happened in his glove, happened in the right spot at the right time.
You're right. He barely even moved.
If he keeps his arms up, that ball goes right between his arm and his body. Or it looks like a cartoon. He's got a hole through his side. Which one's it going to be? That's unbelievable.
Gonna throw that ball out.
It's dented twice.
You know, balls do get dented. You've seen it.
Yeah, it is amazing to say that, but yeah, you know that the other day that ball that went in the booth in Anaheim was really dented.
Yep. I saw a few of the baseballs that were used in batting practice hit by McGuire, and those would come away sometimes with stitch. Some of the stitching was off the ball, depending on where he caught it off the bat, or it'd be dented. Remember what Mark said when he was at the All-Star game in 1999. They had Ted Williams there. Ted asked him, "Do you smell burnt wood?" Do you ever have that?
Yep, all the time.
Yeah.
You see guys that smell the bat. You could smell it without sticking your nose up to it.
Burnt wood.
Just a burnt smell. I don't know if it was actual wood or the leather on the ball, but you could definitely smell it.
1-2 pitch. Kazmir showing bunt with 2 strikes and strikeout number 2. Big day in St. Louis tomorrow. Hockey fans, get ready. The Western Conference Finals begin tomorrow at Scottrade Center. Fox Sports Midwest and the Blues invite you to a rally before the game. Get there early, enjoy live music and prizes. Be there Sunday and cheer on the Blues. Great for the city, isn't it, Jimmy?
It is. It's awesome.
Love it.
I was kind of hoping I was going to make it, but it won't be back in town in time.
Got to hop on that early flight with us tomorrow.
I got to hang out an extra day. The wife just got back into town from Ireland.
Another tough trip for her?
Well, I don't know. It's a long trip.
Yeah.
Seeing the world.
Utley takes a ball low. Was talking earlier how he replaced Placido Polanco in Philly. Polanco shifted to third and then eventually replaced by David Bell, who signed as a free agent with the Phillies. Ooh. Up and in to Chase Utley.
Number 5, Corey Seager.
That was just a little bit up in and out. From up here, that almost looked like it hit him in the head. That's the one thing I think for Carlos when he's playing with that get me over here in 92, 98. You get the mechanics are a little different. You're going to get some pitches like that where you're just not in the same spot when your foot comes down and hits the ground. Timing's going to be a little off, and if your timing's off a little bit too far forward and you're late, you're going to yank some pitches across the zone, and when you're throwing that hard, that can be a little dangerous.
Who knows what would have happened last year in the postseason for the Cardinals if Martinez was healthy. They shut him down with the shoulder injury. That time last year, he was really dealing. First year in the rotation for the Cardinals. That's hit the other way, and a base hit by Corey Seager.
Number 10, Justin Turner.
Missouri Lottery Fox Tracks. Nice piece of hitting there going the other way. So following the line out and a strikeout, Utley hit by a pitch, then Seager the base hit. And remember, it was here last year in the division series. Chase Utley ended the season for Ruben Tejada with a nasty slide that really forced the hand of baseball to change some rules with those slides at second base. That was kind of the poster child as to why they changed it. Numerous slides along the way. Slowly hit to Jed Jerko, takes his time and makes the play. Turner is 0 for 2. And so those two reunite in this weekend series, Tejada and Utley. Trucks of the St. Louis Cardinals. And by Steel Outdoor Power Equipment. Quality, reliability, and value. Find a servicing Steel dealer at steeldealers.com or search STIHL. See in the background there they call that here at Chavez Ravine. We always show the shots of the palm trees. Those are the three sisters. Just get a look at the family there, Cardinal fans, but three-pronged trio of trees that sit behind the left field bullpen, and they've been here since day one.
Mexican fan palms, I believe they're called. They are all over Newport Beach and Corona del Mar and down the coast.
Number of renovations to this ballpark, and it was just about 6 years ago they had to actually move those. Expanded the bullpen and some seating back there, and then had to move them back. They were afraid they wouldn't take, but they did. Here's a 2-0 pitch. Ground ball that's hit to second. And Utley flips to first, and Holiday is 0 for 2. Brought up a really good point with Kazmir. He said it right away. Sneaky fast. And you can see because of that fastball, some of the Cardinal hitters are a little off balance.
Sometimes guys just hide the ball a little bit. Sneaky is not necessarily the velocity, it's just late. He picked up the ball late out of his hand just because you don't really see his arm go back. And then when it comes forward, it just comes forward tight, close to his body. Short arm, so to speak.
Moss struck out on 3 pitches back in the second. Cardinals have loaded up with right-handed hitters tonight in this lineup. Kazmir, it's been the long road traveled to get back to the big leagues. Three-time All-Star, 15th overall pick by the Mets in the 2002 draft. And at one point, his velocity a few years ago had dipped down to a max of 82. He's throwing 82 miles an hour. And he had to pitch with the Sugarland Skeeters, which is independent baseball. The Skeeters nickname for the Mosquitoes. A high fly ball to Puig. Most recently, a name that we remember, Brian Barton. Played for the Skeeters, and so did Tracy McGrady. Remember when he was done with the NBA and he tried to pitch? That's where he did it.
I'm glad you referenced that, because I was thinking you were just making up a story there for a minute.
No, not at all. I wouldn't do that.
I know you would.
Came up with Tampa Bay. He's been with the Angels, Cleveland, Oakland, and Houston. As Molina looks at a strike. Yachty is something else. Came in batting .341 in the top 6 in the National League. It's almost like we take it for granted, coming off of 2 surgeries on his hand, that he's just going to be back and same old Yachty.
And then pretty soon we'll start talking about the lack of power, and then he'll start hitting home runs.
Sure. Tremendous ability to hit to all fields. Pull a ball, take it the other way.
Ball almost bouncing the grass. Think about Yachty, about being able to do that right there, hitting the ball in different parts of the ballpark. That's really, you have to know your pitcher and what he's going to give you, and that's what he does so well. Is when you got a tough pitcher up there, he's okay with just going to right, and then when you got a guy that's going to challenge you, he's okay with letting it fly, and then whatever happens in between.
Guys that throw really hard, it seems like he's able to turn on it better than most.
He just knows when he can do that. You know, some guys are throwing hard, but they keep the ball away or it's sinking.
Pulls that out to left, and there's Crawford battling the lights.
And maybe a knuckleball.
Cardinals have just 1 hit against Casimir through 4.
All right, fans, it's time to open the Dodger memory.
Lachlan with you from Dodger Stadium. Dodgers were the first team to get to 3 million fans. They did that 6 times before anybody else. As you get a look at the game summary, Cardinals, including this year, have now done it 13 years in a row with 3 million tickets sold. Just tremendous fan support in St. Louis. Adrian Gonzalez, Yasmani Grandal, and Jock Peterson. I remember talking to Adrian Gonzalez a few years ago, Jimmy, and he said he's really become a student of using video, and he got a lot of advice from Tony Gwynn. He grew up idolizing Mr. Padre. He said, focus on the ball as he hits this the other way. It's well hit. Gone. And one of the things that Mr. Padre told him, hit it the other way. And he's one of the best in baseball at doing that.
He's got some big time power. When I was in spring training with the Padres, he was taking batting practice one day, and every time I was running after a ball, it seemed like his ball would carry a little bit further than you would normally see. And definitely hit the ball in the barrel, and it just carries and carries and carries. And you see right there, takes a nice easy swing. Doesn't look like he gets it all, and gets plenty of it.
So Gonzalez, the home run. Now Grandal. But he said, focus on the ball. Don't look so much when you're watching video at your personal swing. Figure out by looking at video what a pitcher is trying to do. He said too many players and hitters look at their personal swing. There's a ground ball to Jed Jerko. Let's check in with Jimmy.
Dan, there's no question Aledmus Diaz has been outstanding this season, but with every season comes ups and downs. For Aledmus, there have been a lot more ups. Last night, along with a home run, a double, charged with 3 errors. After the game, he didn't duck reporters. He actually came to them and answered their questions. He said straight up, I played bad defense and it cost us runs. I'm frustrated by that. He also said he'll be better. He handled it like a veteran. Mike Matheny told me the fact that Aledmus faced the reporters in the way he did and made no excuses, it's a sign he understands what they've been telling him. Don't get caught up in the highs and lows, Dan.
Brings me to this question. Were you ready for the media coverage once you got to the big leagues and the scrutiny that would bring to any major league player?
No, I wasn't. And you know what? When I played in Anaheim, it felt like the Dodger guys would come down when the Dodgers were out of town, and some of the guys would kind of pick up stories. Because we weren't that good in Anaheim, they picked us apart a little bit. There was a couple guys that I thought, you know, kind of needed to stir it up a little bit. So it was nice to get out of there. And I got to St. Louis. It seemed like the guys, the media guys and the beat writers and all the guys were just really professional about doing their job.
2-1 pitch, hit into left. Holiday. It is playable. Makes the catch.
Not really picking, you know, at people and not really kind of going the extra mile to make you look bad. It was just doing their job, and they called it how they saw it. I felt like a little bit in Anaheim there was some of those guys kind of attacked a few players here and there and turned some things into stories that really didn't need to be stories.
Give Diaz credit for facing the media, which is, whether you like it or not, part of the job.
You know what? In all fairness to him, last night he had a really tough night. He had 2 of the 3 balls, I thought, if not all 3, were really above average tough plays. And I could sit up here and tell you that everybody should make every play. They can't. The ball that was hit was a rocket, and it kind of handcuffed him. The first ball had so much spin on it from Gonzalez, and it's a do or die play. And I think the third play was a do or die play also.
Charging Carpenter, Puig retired. Solo home run.
And usually a do or die play could be a hit if you don't make the play.
That home run off the bat of Adrian Gonzalez, the 5th allowed by Carlos Martinez, goes the other way. One swing, 1-0 Dodgers. Charlie Blackmon, one of the top leadoff men in all of baseball, and we'll see him on Tuesday night at Busch Stadium when the Cardinals return home and begin a 10-game homestand. A strike to Randal Grichuk. Struck out back in the second. Kazmir has struck out 3. He's allowed just 1 base hit. That was Jed Jerko with a single to left field back in inning number 3. Last season, Kazmir split time with Oakland and Houston, went 7-11 in 31 starts, but did have the 4th best ERA in the American League. 2-1. Originally drafted in 2002, 15th overall by the Mets, then traded to Tampa Bay. Brian Bullington was the #1 overall pick for Pittsburgh that year. Cardinals picked up a couple of guys out of that draft that were very good pitchers. One that works for us, Brad Thompson, and also Kyle McClellan, the St. Louis native. A draft of 2002. Grichuk swing and a miss, and that's 4 strikeouts. Like he may have wanted that pitch up, Jimmy.
Good hard fastball right there. That just, like I said, it's not, you could say it's riding, but it's not really moving, but it's taking off. It's got good life at the end. Kind of start to go attack it, and then it just kind of scoots right on by. Got a nice leg kick, smooth delivery. Ball's jumping out of his hand.
We mentioned the first pitch strikes being a concern coming into this start after what took place in his previous start against the Mets, and he's been pitching ahead in the count tonight. 1 ball, 1 strike.
Got 4 days in between to make an adjustment, and you definitely have to make the adjustment. You can't go out there and do the same thing every start, good or bad, because the next team's going to sneak up and get you. But that scouting report, so big. They have computers down there in the locker room that not only can you pull up his last outing or every fastball that he threw in his last outing, you can pull up every fastball that he's thrown in his career, and every slider that he's thrown in his career, every slider that he's thrown in the 2-1 count in his career, or his last outing, or this year, or against lefties, against righties. Doesn't matter. You can pull it up. If it's on video, they have a program in every locker room that can literally pull up anything you want to see, and that's where they've taken it to another level.
Jerko breaks his bat, hit to short on a hop. Seager, high throw, his 2nd error of the night. So that went into the dugout, and Jerko will take second base. Seager now with 6 errors on the year.
Looked like Adrian Gonzalez got a little relaxed there and took it for granted he was going to make a nice throw, and I don't think he jumped very high for that ball. Either that or it came out of the. Yep.
Trying to keep his foot on the bag, didn't want to elevate too much. So the Cardinals have a man in scoring position. Second time tonight. First base open, Martinez on deck. How much will Diaz see something to hit here?
Definitely going to be careful. Situation right here is you get into the at bat here, and whatever the first pitch, whatever happens in the first pitch will dictate what he's going to do to attack here. He's got the opportunity to get ahead, or if he falls behind, he can kind of see if he's going to chase, and then you go after Martinez. But I don't think all the time are they just going to pitch straight around him. That's the toughest part about being a young hitter in the 8-hole, is you really don't know when they're going to pitch to you and when they're going to pitch around you.
Doesn't that make the numbers for Diaz even more impressive?
Yeah, because the good news is when you're unknown, they'll come right at you for a while until you prove them wrong. But he's definitely proving everybody, or to everybody, they can hit. So we'll see how long it takes before they start pitching around him a little bit more.
Bounced in the dirt, kept in front by Grandal. I'm curious. You mentioned all the different video that you have. Some believe it might be too much. You buy into that?
Well, I think something that we said earlier in the year is you have to take the knowledge that you're given and know what to do with it. Yes, you can't take it all in, and there is a lot out there, but you have to take what's right for you. And so for me, I'd want to know where he's going to throw his fastball, on what side of the plate, what's his out pitch, and what does it look like, and where does it end up all the time. And that's it. You don't want to know every pitch that he throws in every situation.
It's behind Diaz, and Jerko now advances to third. The count of 3-1. Wouldn't think that Diaz would get a pitch to hit here. Wild pitch. Remember, Utley was hit earlier in the game, and I just wonder, thinking out loud here, you've already hit Utley. If you were going to put Diaz on anyway, maybe a little purpose with that pitch. He just happened to miss him. Maybe. Infield drawn in, and a 3-1 pitch. It's also interesting, too, as an 8th place hitter, knowing that Martinez is on deck, you may expand your zone a little bit more, too.
Well, right there, he did a good job because he was being patient through the count. But when you get the runner over to third, you can just, all you have to really do is hit a fly ball into right center field. Just get it out there a little bit. I think he's smart enough right there to say, okay, now that he's on third, I will expand and try to hit a fly ball.
The 3-2. Diaz down the left field line, hooking, and it is foul. Oh.
Sure that's not what he was looking for out of a changeup right there.
That ball was crushed.
Exact opposite. Cashmere knew he threw a bad pitch right there and got away with one.
Grandal then quickly visited with his lefty.
Could have been Brandon Moss's brother on the big screen
Notice
up there.
that. So 3-2, runner at third, 1 out. Pitch number 67 from Kazmir. Now to Diaz. And he walked him. It's a good at bat. The second of 6 Academy Sports and Outdoor autographed nights is Friday, May 20th. This Friday, 2 current Cardinal players will sign for fans 15 and under in the Ford Plaza. 2 former Cardinals will sign for all ages, 6:15 to 7. Visit Cardinals.com/promotions to find out more. Runners at first and third. Martinez reached on an error by Seager back in the 3rd inning. First walk issued by the left-hander. This is what makes the National League style of play fun. You've got the pitcher up, first and third. Does he show bunt? He does. Does he swing? He is swinging. Lines it into left. The catch is made. Jerko will tag up. Throw by Crawford is not in time. Carlos Martinez drives in his 4th here in 2016, and we're tied at 1.
Great job by Jerko right there, tagging up on a line drive. Sometimes the ball's not hit high enough. You go towards home plate a little bit too much, and when it's hit that hard, left fielder's running in, has got a chance to throw you out. Challenging Crawford's arm. Not one of the best arms in the league, obviously. Great job by Martinez and Jerko.
See if he takes off early. The Dodgers are taking a look at it now.
No.
Nope. Clearly he did not. So here is Carpenter. As Jerko scores the first run for the Cardinals tonight here in the 5th inning. Runner at first. is Aledmys Diaz. Carpenter is 0 for 2.
Kind of the theme of the year. The air. Jerko scores the run.
Yep.
We'll start keeping track of these. It's a high percentage right now.
No doubt. Seen 5 errors committed combined by the shortstops in this series. 7 errors total in the series. A 1-1 game. 2 outs, runner at first, no balls, 1 strike. See Diaz maybe doing some running here. Good speed. He has stolen 1 this year. No balls and 2 strikes. How about times to home plate? What are you looking for?
That's one of the things I was looking to see. If when you have a left-hander on the mound, he's usually a little bit slower. He's trying to make you go back. But if you get a good jump, if he's above 1-3, 1-4, and you get a decent jump, you could pretty much steal second base. You just have to get the move.
And you're timing him up here.
You're not supposed to tell anyone. The deal is getting the jump, getting the read. Some lefties are really tough to get a jump on. Like I said, a right-hander needs to be below 1-3, a lefty a little bit higher.
There he goes on the 0-2, and the pitch is skied into left. Crawford under it, makes the catch. Cardinals pick up on a run from Carlos Martinez, his RBI, and it's 1-1. Noah Syndergaard averaging 98 miles an hour on his fastball. Nathan Eovaldi of the Yankees, the former Marlin, at 97. More and more, these young pitchers are coming up and throwing harder and harder consistently. The average velocity. Here's Carl Crawford. Crawford's been around a long time. Now in his 15th major league season. 9 years with Tampa Bay. He was in Boston involved in a 9-player deal to bring him to the Dodgers. The idea with that was that Boston unloaded a lot of salary. The contracts. Crawford 2 years, $50 million remaining on his deal.
It's a lot of cash.
I'd say so.
Before taxes.
You see the velocity here for Martinez at 98, his top speed. 2-1 pitch.
That's filthy.
Look at our Chevy Fox tracks.
This is what 98 will buy you right there. It'll buy you a little cheating swing. You don't really recognize the spin. Swing at the ball when it's coming out of the hand.
99. Martinez is much more direct to the plate too. He doesn't fall off to the first base side nearly as much. Cardinals have talked about him getting more on top of the ball for movement. Sacrifice velocity for that movement and location. 3-2 pitch. Leadoff walk. Well, he doesn't throw a lot of pitches per inning. Clayton Kershaw at 13.5. Martinez just behind him, 13.9. So slightly under 14. It's hard to do. Last to do that for the Cardinals, by the way, was Chris Carpenter in 2009. You have to go all the way back in 2009 to see that. So leadoff walk. Kazmir has a couple of sacrifices this year.
It's tough to see sometimes when you get Carlos Martinez's 0-2 with the stuff that he has and let somebody off the hook. Especially a guy like Carl Crawford, who's been struggling a little bit, hitting in front of the pitcher and can run.
Now the Cardinals want to see how they want to play it. St. Louis has had Carpenter charging in from third with Moss holding at first. They'd love to get that lead man. Carpenter racing down the line. But there's no doubt they're trying to get that lead runner with the way that Carpenter's coming down.
They probably know whether Kazmir can handle the bat or not. Obviously, being in the American League for so long, not used to bunting. Also, as a player, like an outfielder, for me, I hate to see him go from 0-2 to that walk, because I know how much pressure this puts on the defense to have a guy on base and the pitcher trying to bunt.
What'd you find? I mean, you bunted every once in a while. Rare, but you did. Toughest pitch to bunt?
A ball.
Yeah.
You really have to be patient. Sometimes the guys will throw the ball up in the zone to try to get you to rise up and bunt at it, pop it up. I think for me, if I'm bunting, I'm not bunting anything that's spinning like that. There's no chance.
I don't know if you ever heard me from up here. I used to scream when you would bunt.
I heard you a couple times. You were mean.
What's he doing?
When I was playing.
Swing the bat, Edmonds.
This is why right here. You see this?
Spinning.
Spinning. And it's a ball. Two hardest things to bunt and to hit, actually.
Sit up here and
I could hear you.
Look at Al and say, what is this guy thinking? Tony, sit him. Let him think about it on the bench. Pretty good bunt. How about that?
Perfect example of what I was talking about. You never know what's going to happen. The pressure on the defense sometimes is just, there's a lot going on and a lot of movement. even a guy who's been in the American League for so long, all he's got to do is get the bat on the ball, and it takes off, and people are moving all over the place. It squirts right through the infield.
Brings in Chase Utley. He's born in Pasadena, attended UCLA, one of the top picks for the Phillies, part of their championship team. Really a bounce back year for him. Hitting .294, which is tops on this club after a down year a season ago. His career slugging percentage is .479. Just how good is that? The 5th highest ever by a second baseman. Slugging percentage is total bases divided by at bats, so you get a good idea of the power that he has. Number 1 on that list, by the way, Rogers Hornsby. Here's a 1-0 pitch, and now time is called. Wasn't granted.
Then was. Chase has got one of the shortest swings with a guy with power that I've ever seen play baseball.
For a lefty too, it's not real.
He doesn't even finish his swing.
Just not comfortable looking.
Very productive for a long time.
Two balls and no strikes. Dodgers have won 3 straight division titles. They lead the West currently, 2 games above 500. Don Mattingly no longer here. Greinke in Arizona, Mattingly with Miami. One of the highest payrolls in baseball. The 2-0 pitch. 3-0. Herrera, Fowler, Carpenter, Utley, and Jaso, some of the top leadoff hitters in the National League. And that on-base percentage, Utley at .387, tops for the Dodgers. Already's had 3 3-hit games. Bases loaded.
It's a pretty good 3-0 pitch right there. Not sure why that wasn't a strike.
So Derek Lilliquist out to visit with Carlos Martinez. It brings in Corey Seager. By the way, Corey's father, Stu, played a handful of games with the Dodgers back in 1985. And last night we talked about the history of these two teams in postseason play. And of course, a famous history of these two teams in the playoffs was 1985, and the Dodgers and the Cardinals, and Ozzie Smith, famous home run, Jack Clark's famous home run at this ballpark. Walk to Crawford, Kazmir, the bunt single. Walk to Utley, and now Corey Seager. A .310 hitter with runners in scoring position. Oh, 1.
99. Gonna reach back right here and try to shut this inning down.
Again, 99.
Pretty good crowd here tonight, huh?
Late arriving as usual, but it's filled up.
The way it's supposed to be. Packed.
Two walks and a base hit. Bases loaded, nobody out. Seager has bounced into a double play and singled.
He's throwing hard now. 101.
Well, I mentioned you can go back and get it, have some extra.
He's doing it right now.
My goodness. 101.
Looking for that devastating slider down and in right here. Makes his pitch. He's got no chance.
Two balls, two strikes. The 2-2. Base hit into right. Throw by Biscotti to the plate. Dodgers back on top 2-1, and the bases still loaded and nobody out for Justin Turner.
Third baseman, Justin Turner.
Threw a couple pitches, 98, 99, 100. Then just threw a changeup that just floated right down the middle of the plate. Sometimes he got sliders, I think, a better pitch in that situation, but he got the bases loaded. And as hard as he throws, if he bounces one, it could take off and go all over the place. So trying to be a little bit more careful.
0-1 the count on Turner. 0 for 2, pair of groundouts. Backs up again. 1 ball, 1 strike.
That's where you're watching this game and you want to see, you'd love to see what guys are made of right here, what they do, and turn it up a notch.
99. Ball just exploded in on Turner. You think about it too, this could be your game right here. Heart of the lineup, bases loaded, nobody out. Minimize the damage and come back.
Well, you have to think this is your game right here, because you cannot ever think that the offense is going to score, even though they probably will. As a pitcher with the ball in your hand, you can't give them 2-3 runs in this inning. The offense doesn't have that much time to make up for it.
Turner right now is 3 for his last 20. Then you have Gonzalez on deck, who is homered, but Gonzalez lifetime against Martinez came in 1 for 12. Carlos thought he had strike 3.
He is just missing, if he is missing at all. I mean, you can even tell the velocity coming out of his hand right now.
Oh yeah.
That even handcuffed Yachty a little bit. Yachty didn't even have time to get to frame that.
Martinez backed away. Frustrated he didn't get the call. Now it's a 2-2 pitch coming at 180 miles an hour. Took a little something off
That's
it.
a good changeup right there.
Three and two. Three-two on its way. High fly ball out to right. Backing up Piscotty. Makes the catch. Runners will tag up. That makes it a 3-1 Dodgers lead. RBI number 9 for Justin Turner, and the first out here in the bottom of the 5th.
First baseman Adrian Gonzalez.
See right here, we keep talking about this. It doesn't matter how hard you throw. It matters about the location. That ball's 98, 99. It's a nice solid swing and hits it far enough to make it a sac fly.
Gonzalez has grounded into 3 double plays this year. Runners at first and third. As an infield hit and a solo home run to the opposite field. So look at Dean Kekeffer at some point will make his major league debut. He's starting to throw in the Cardinals pen. And the 0-1 pitch is on its way. 0-2. So now he's got him 0-2. He's hitting 100 miles an hour on his fastball. You know about the changeup, the slider. What does he come with here?
If I had his velocity, I would throw a fastball on the inner half of the plate about belt high. He would never hit it. The other good pitch he's got is that sinker at his back foot. I don't want to see Adrian get his hands or his arms extended.
Molina wanted it up. Got it there. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Good play by Molina. That saves a run. That goes back to what you mentioned earlier with that slider, and the base is loaded.
See, that's the pitch right there. If that ball starts closer to the zone, you have to respect the fastball. The fact that that's a fastball, when you see that come out of the hand, if that was a fastball, that ball bounces in front of the plate. It goes straight down to the ground. Easy for him to lay off right there. Get it a little up, a little bit higher. Like I said, you got to respect the fact that he's throwing 98 miles an hour.
2-2 with 2 on, 1 out. We'll do it again.
See the difference right there? Just a little bit of elevation can make. Nasty slider. I was talking about throwing him a fastball inside right there. I know, obviously, people think that missing with a fastball inside, he can get his arms out and still hit the home run, but you can see that ball out over the plate. Just have a little bit longer. You can wait a little bit longer to react when the ball is out over the plate, and you can flip at it for a foul ball. If that ball's inside and in a good spot, you got to swing so early, and there's such a fine line. You don't have a lot of chance to foul that ball off. It's either a hit or miss.
The 2-2.
See if we can watch what Yachty's trying to do here. We go with that changeup.
The 2-2 pitch. Ground ball, foul. Well, the game within the game here with Martinez and Adrian Gonzalez.
There's a lot going on right here too. If you pay attention, you're watching Yachty in between pitches, and even right before the last couple pitches, he's looking down at first base to see how far the runner's off, if he's got a bigger lead, if he's gonna run. It's a good running situation right here, even though there is 2 strikes. Adrian's such a good hitter.
The 2-2, runner goes, and it's hit out of play. Gonzalez this season has struck out 32 times. Seager does have 1 stolen base this year. Dave Roberts, he's thinking, I don't want to run into a double play and be out of this inning.
Gotta believe he throws a fastball inside. He's got him tied up.
Now time is called.
See that right there. He was ready to go, and Yachty hadn't even put down the sign yet. Try to go with the slider.
The 2-2.
It's 3-2 here. He's probably going to run. Good opportunity if he does make a good pitch. Yachty's got a chance to throw him out.
Pitch number 38 of the inning.
Nope. Wow. Good at bat. Pretty good battle right here, Danny.
This is why I love the game.
This is like a playoff at bat right here.
Yep.
There it is right here. Let's see if he can do it.
3-2 pitch. Martinez to Gonzalez. Ground ball. Boss had a play at the plate. Steps on the bag at first and gets the out. But they had the man trying to score. And he also had the potential of a double play.
You see here, he finally got the pitch. Didn't get it in as far as I would hope to. Moss has got a great chance to go home, but he's thinking 2 the whole way, and then just has to go step on the bag. Yep. You've got a little bit of runner running. Didn't have time to go for the double play, but I think he might have gotten lost there with the guy at third, forgetting there's so much going on in there. keep repeating myself about this, but you're standing at first base and that guy's running every pitch.
Diaz stays down on it and makes the play. The Dodgers pick up 3. They add to their lead. It's 4-1 Los Angeles. As Yadier Molina was not only in the at-bat but also frustrated, it looked like, with the umpire. He got upset at something, and whether it was he was trying to call time granted, or the fact that he wanted a different pitch that was called a ball earlier. Look at him get at home plate umpire Adam Hamari. And it didn't stop after the throw by Piscotty. That was in the at-bat with Corey Seager right after Utley. Cardinals defense again tonight has committed an error as they work on the pitching mound for Scott Kazmir. Last night, the first time the club committed 4 errors and allowed 5 unearned since Mike Matheny took over the club in 2012. On this road trip, Cardinals with an error here tonight. They've committed 8 errors on the trip and 34 on the year. That's got to be frustrating. We talk about the fact that you have to put more pressure on your pitcher. Pitch count goes up, can't stay deeper into games. Well, regardless, it's a 4-1 Dodger lead. Cardinals will have Piscotty, Holiday, and Moss. St. Louis on the flip end of the defense, and what we're talking about with the frustration of Yadier Molina. Jimmy, they got 1 hit tonight. That's it too.
Yeah, we've been picking on the defense a little bit. Carlos has had a tough inning, but you're right, only 1 hit. It's not going to get it done tonight. Kazmir's been doing a good job mixing his pitches and keeping people off balance. A lot of conversations going on in that dugout right now.
I will say this too about Martinez, as here's the first pitch to Stephen Piscotty. Look back in that inning. That was bases loaded with 2, 3, and 4 coming up. It could have been a lot worse than just 3 runs. And nobody out. Piscotty with a fly ball into shallow right. Puig. 1 away.
Carlos needs to calm down right now, sit down and relax. Unless they've already taking him out of the game, which I doubt. Save up some energy and come back next inning. A lot of emotions out there in this game. It seems like such a slow game. Some days boring to watch. There's a lot of that emotion going on in that field.
Here's Holiday. Jammed to Corey Seager.
First baseman Brandon Moss.
So 2 quick outs, and it brings in Brandon Moss, who struck out and also flied out to right. I always say the ball will find you, and that's been the case here with Brandon Moss this ball game tonight. A natural outfielder that has made that transition to first base. And a ground ball that rolls fair. Gonzalez steps on the bag. We'll see if Martinez returns for the bottom of the 6th. He is hot right now. On Fox Sports Midwest is brought to you by the new 2016 Mitsubishi Outlander Sport. Some of the greats painted on the walls here at Dodger Stadium. Fernando and Kirk Gibson. And here's a major league debut for Dean Kiekefer. Lefty, very good against the lefties, but also an innings eater as Martinez battled through last inning. And so always fun to see a major league debut, and that's what we get here tonight.
I love the major league debut.
Me too.
First hit, first home run, first strikeout.
I also think about all the people that have given so much of their time, their life to get the individual, whomever that may be, to this point in their career. Mom, dad, brothers, sisters, grandparents, friends. It's a celebration in many ways of so many to get a player to the big leagues.
Crazy thing to me is there's so many guys that were just as good, probably should have had a chance to play in the big leagues and never even got a chance to make that major league debut. Played for years in the minors. All the difference in the world make one day for the debut.
First man you faced, your debut.
Drawing a blank. He was an older pitcher when I was young.
Well, you played 2,000 plus games.
I've also hit my head a few times too many. My wife can tell you I'm losing my mind or losing my memory.
Great moment. So Dean Kieckeffer making his debut. You'll never forget this. He faced Jock Peterson in that debut here at Dodger Stadium. Peterson has walked and also flied out to left. Roster spot created by Seth Maness going on the DL. And a strikeout. The first man he sees in the big leagues. And welcome to the show, Dean Kieckeffer.
There you go.
Right fielder, Yasiel Puig.
Made an impression at the Arizona Fall League. He'll throw that ball out.
Now, is it all uphill from here or all downhill from here? Which one is it?
Well, the 1st and 15th, it's uphill. Here's Puig. Fly ball, right field. Handled easily by Steven Piscotty. Fans can purchase a special themed ticket to Bud Bash and get an exclusive bobblehead and autograph from Chris Duncan Tuesday, May 17th. That's this Tuesday. Purchase your tickets at Cardinals.com/BudBash. That'll be it for Carl Crawford. His night is through. He never looked comfortable catching some of those fly balls.
Seen a lot of that today. Both first basemen getting handcuffed. Ball's not really been catching the web tonight. I've seen a lot of palms.
There's Kiki Hernandez.
Puig last inning, I think, lost the ball in the lights a little bit.
Earlier start, they say around 5, 6 o'clock if they have those types of games. Little earlier start time than most of the games around here. It's a little tougher on the outfielders.
And the hitters.
1 ball, 1 strike. Kieckeffer made an impression at the end of last year. He spent a number of years in the minor leagues, went to the Arizona Fall League and put up good numbers. Now here he is in the big leagues. Got a good spring too. Whatever Yachty puts down, Kieckeffer says, yep, okay, that's what we're going to do.
It's going really fast too.
Yeah.
Trying to get it out of his hand quickly.
It seems like for most players, they get that first appearance under their belt, they settle in. And isn't it just knowing that you belong? Isn't that half the battle, if not most of it? As you said, guys physically are equals. Some of them, the guys at AAA in the major leagues.
That first day can be quite a tough day on the heart. We'll get back to that after this. I got a story for you.
Dean Kieckeffer strikes out 2 in his major league debut. Nicely done. A night he'll never forget. 4-1 Dodgers. home run inning. If a Cardinals player hits a home run, the Gateway Honda dealers donate $1,000 to the Make-A-Wish Foundation of Missouri. So your heart was racing when you faced Bill Gullickson, I believe?
It was Bill Gullickson. But in that series, a guy named Paul Swingle was pitching. He was our closer in the minor leagues. He came in to face Cecil Fielder with the bases loaded, and he was standing on top of the mound hitting his chest. And so he couldn't pitch. He kept stepping off and patting himself on the chest. And so pitching coach ran out there and asked him what was wrong.
Seager to his left for the first out.
He said that his heart was racing so bad he thought he was having a heart attack. His first major league outing was against Cecil Fielder with the bases loaded in like the 7th inning.
I always found it interesting how your former manager Tony La Russa used to do it, and Mike Matheny has used that same strategy with a young player that gets called up. They try to throw him right in the fire. Just get that first appearance out of the way. Good, bad, indifferent, whatever, but get it done.
Don't have time to think about it.
Exactly.
A lot of times, though, when you get called up, that's the reason why you're getting called up. You're needed.
Scott Kazmir in this game has been part of the story. He's allowed just 1 hit as we play here in the 7th. The 4-1 Dodgers lead. Cardinals 7th inning or later have 20 home runs. Much of that has been due to pinch hitters and the bench. They've scored 77 runs from this inning on, which is tops in the major leagues. See if they can't get some of that late inning magic here tonight. 1-2. Grichuk has struck out twice. Tomorrow it's Mike Leake and Alex Wood, and Leake coming off 8 strong innings against the Angels to pick up his first win of the season. Two and two. You know it's not easy, but it seemed easy tonight for Kazmir.
He's making it look easy. He's on tonight. He's moving the ball around. Ball's jumping out of his hand. He's throwing slider for strikes, breaking ball for strikes. Got a good changeup tonight. And 94 has been pretty impressive out of a short arm left-hander.
Seung-Hwan Oh getting loose. The 2-2. Off-speed pitch pulled fair. This will be extra bases for Randal Grichuk. Hernandez will dig it out of the corner. One out double for Grichuk brings in Jed Jerko.
Second baseman Jed Jerko.
See right there, catcher wanted the ball down in the zone and left it up. Even when you're on, if you make a bad pitch, it's going to get hit. Not hit hard, but enough to get down the line and get down for a double.
J.P. Howell, the left-hander, and Lewis Coleman, a right-hander, getting loose in the Dodgers pen. Jerko on base twice. Single to left. Reached on an error and scored the lone run back in the 5th. Jerko lines it softly to short. Tomorrow, NASCAR heads to the Monster Mile at Dover. It's Sprint Cup Series racing. Jimmy Johnson looks to defend his title from last year. It's at 10:30 on FS1 or watch it live on Fox Sports Go. Here's Aledmys Diaz. He has walked and grounded into a fielder's choice. 2 outs, runner at second. Today, a pretty famous day in Cardinals history. Busch Stadium 2 opened up May 14th, 1966. They have played in Sportsman's Park since 1920. Ballpark closed down after the Houston Astros defeated the Cardinals in 2005 in the National League Championship Series. Our good friend Mike Shannon, first RBI and the first home run. Busch Stadium 2. Here's an 0-1 pitch to Diaz. The Cardinals tonight just 5 at bats with a man in scoring position. Last night they were 2 for 14 in those spots. Pitch count at 86 for Kazmir. And a ground ball hit to Seager. Just gets Diaz. Time to stretch here at Dodger Stadium. Scott Kazmir has been sensational here tonight.
Ladies and gentlemen.
Will be a big hit in their new adult Cardinals pullover. Quarter zip short sleeve pullover features a bird on the bat logo, and tickets are available at cardinals.com/promotions. Arizona Diamondbacks will be in town next weekend. Homestand kicks off against Colorado on Tuesday. Strike to Scott Kazmir. You could see either way, keeping in the lefty or going to the bullpen. If you're Dave Roberts of the Dodgers, this bullpen of the Dodgers has been basically unhittable lately. 4 scoreless innings last night. 1 earned a run in their last 19 innings. So Kazmir leading it off. And it's 2 balls and 1 strike. Dean Kekeffer struck out 2 in his first inning in the big leagues.
Very uncomfortable at the plate, I would say. Been in the American League too long. But I think his bunt was the turning point of the game so far.
It was a big play in this game back in the 5th, following the walk to Carl Crawford. Then it was a walk after that, and eventually a 3-run lead. Strikeout. So he has struck out 3 of the first 4. Along with the Cardinals Hall of Famer Jim Edmonds, I'm Dan McLaughlin. Jim Hayes is here as well at Dodger Stadium in Los Angeles. If you just joined us, it's 4-1 in favor of the Dodgers. Carlos Martinez, 5 innings, 5 hits. Jed Jerko is a lone run scored for the Cardinals. Had a conversation with Dean on the Cardinals caravan and also spring training, and so what's your mindset, you know, in terms of the walks? And he has not walked many in his pro career. And he said basically it's about the odds. Get strike 1, it's pretty clear your odds are in your favor to get an out. So use a little common sense, try to get strike 1. Makes sense.
Does make sense, and he tries to keep the hitters off balance, moving the ball around, and little sidearm here and there over the top. Got good sink, good slider.
He'll throw from 2 different arm slots, primarily a 2-seamer, and then he'll mix in that slider.
Those strikes from both slots too, when he needs to.
One-two pitch, check swing. Did not go. How about this? Keffer has come in and struck out now 4.
Shortstop, number 5, Corey Seager.
Plaza Tire Fox Tracks.
See that little slider, sidearm slider. Not a lot of break, but enough to be deceiving. A little backup to it too.
I think you'll enjoy this. I asked Dean, I always like to ask players, who is your favorite player growing up? Jim Edmonds. Said he was a center fielder primarily growing up and playing baseball, not much of a pitcher. He said Jim Edmonds always had the knack for the big moment. He was my guy growing up. Dean grew up in the Midwest and following the Cardinals. That's nice for you to hear.
That is nice. I have to go down there and talk to him about that. Straighten him out, yeah.
1-2 on Corey Seager. Dean doesn't waste much time, and there's a fly ball lifted out to center field. Grichuk back again, and it is gone. Corey Seager, his 4th home run.
See this pitch right here. Slider at the bottom of the zone. 4 out of 5 strikeouts, and then get a slider like that. Welcome to the big leagues a little bit. That's the thing. He's going to go back after this and watch that pitch, and he's going to say, well, that ball's down right where I was trying to throw it. Did a great job, though.
Chevy called to the pin.
Matt Adams, St. Louis Cardinals. Let's go Blues.
Let's go Blues. Beat the Sharks.
Let's go Blues. We're with you.
Let's go Blues. Let's do this.
Blues are through to the Western Conference Finals. Game 1 tomorrow night. And we'll have post-game show, Missouri Lottery Blues Live. Post-game coverage on Fox Sports Midwest after the game on Sunday night tomorrow. Seung-Hwan Oh, first pitch, a strike to Turner. So Kiefer faced 6, struck out 4, and gave up the home run to Corey Seager. 1 ball, 1 strike. The 1-1. Ruben Tejada is into the ball game, part of a double switch. So far, this is the furthest that Scott Kazmir has gone in a game. Most he had pitched was 6 innings, as O thought he had the strikeout. Justin Turner with a sac fly RBI in the 5th. He grounded out to second, also grounded out to first. Former Met and Oriole. Out to right center. Here's Grichuk. That sends us to the 8th. Dodgers pick up a run, and it's 5-1 Los Angeles. Dodgers lead the Cardinals here in the 8th. So far in this road trip, it was a sweep against the Angels, 25 runs, and thus far in this series, a loss, only 5 runs, 11 hits. You see the 13 runs allowed. Phillies, one of the big surprises right now in baseball, as Scotty gave us that update. They're 7 games above the 500 mark. It's hard to believe. So here is Ruben Tejada. Start play here in the 8th. Kazmir's first pitch drops in for a strike. .174 the average for Tejada in just 14 games. Playing time has been hit and miss this year. Took over for Jerko at second base.
When you're up here doing so much work that you do nightly, watching our team play, but mainly against the teams that we play, do you get a chance to watch or even pay attention when you see another team that you kind of don't expect to take off during the course of the year? Or do you just kind of look at the standings once in a while and be like, whoa,
depending where we're at, and I mean, this is going to be the great promotion for MLB.com and At Bat. Watch the games before, you know, we get to the ballpark, see some of the East Coast teams. Certainly listen to Vince Scully when I get home, or watch the Angels, A's, Giants. I'm the kind of guy that will watch baseball wherever I'm at, no matter what team is playing. But I can't believe the Phillies are doing what they're doing. I really can't. Next time you want to grab seats, get the StubHub app. It's the best value for your seats wherever you may be.
You're right, that MLB app is pretty amazing. I think that it's my favorite thing when I'm not working. Speaking of the Phillies, the highlights that you can see on that, and then the information that they give you, it's pretty cool to keep up. But I don't know, it's like Sports Center gets you to watch, you know, the news, whatever, but I find like the days go by so fast, and you just look up and 15-20 games have been played. You know, even when you're here, the days go by so fast. Funny story, playing, I always said every day is a Monday, every night's a Friday, because every day you went to work, but every day it was fun. It was like Friday night. I got up this morning and went to go to the grocery store, and I drove by the school in our neighborhood and couldn't figure out why it was so empty.
You hadn't figured out it was
Saturday already.
Certain players too that if I know that they're on the West Coast, I'll watch that particular player. Like if Kershaw is going to make a start and it's on the West Coast, I'd love to watch him pitch. Problem is his game's in 2 hours.
Well, for you too, you're up in the booth so long. I think you put so much work in that you do have time to kind of watch it. If you are on the East Coast or vice versa, if you're on the West Coast, you could kind of have the TV on or the monitor or your computer while you're working. But I've kind of gotten lost when I'm not working.
Yeah, it happens. I love going home and listening to Vince Scully. It's one of my favorite things to do. Finish up a game in St. Louis. We do our post-game hit. By the time we get home, usually it's inning 5, 6 on an average night.
It always amazes me when we have a quick game in St. Louis and you turn on the TV and they're in the first inning in LA or San Francisco and the sun's still up.
Or you get here to the ballpark and majority of games are done.
That happened to me the other day. We were getting ready to go to work and I was watching the highlights and it looked like the game was at midnight. It was so dark in the background. There's a team on the East Coast.
You know what's interesting is when I talk to players that, and I mean guys that have been in the game a long time like yourself or some of the others, that first year or two, not only do they not want to watch the games, they don't see anything for, I'd say, a good handful of years. They need to get away from the game. Just remove themselves.
I still really don't watch it. I watch the Cardinals when we're at home. It's funny because I did a couple interviews for ESPN and Fox and FS1, and they basically said you do a great job when they're talking about the Cardinals, but you really don't have that much knowledge of the rest of the league. And I said, you know what, you're right. I'm not watching. I thought I could learn on the fly.
I just admire, for me, in doing this job, seeing a guy like Vince Scully do it by himself. And the stories and the history, and he doesn't miss a word. And it's not just baseball history or the players, it's just life. Everything that he's seen and how he ties it into the game. It's wonderful. Good play by Puig to cut that off and hold Piscotty to a single.
Really good play right there, hustling. Cutting that ball off, easy double, cuts it off and keeps him at first base.
So a 2-out hit for the Cardinals.
He was even playing over kind of towards the line a little bit. I think knowing if he didn't cut that ball off, that's a triple. Hustles over, keeps him for first base.
I'd love to watch Max Scherzer pitch.
I'm with you on that one.
Try to find out when he's pitching. Kershaw, Bumgarner. 0-1 pitch here to Holiday. When he first left St. Louis, watching Albert Pujols in Anaheim.
To see what he's going to do each night.
Yep.
Crazy the number of the home runs just kind of sneaking up.
Yeah.
Not having a very good season, but yet power numbers. I don't care if you hit 6, 10, 40. Having 500 something home runs. What does he have? He's in the upper 500s now.
567, I think.
It's pretty incredible.
On a hop to short. It's been a tough night for Seager, but he makes that play. Cardinals strand a runner. They have stranded 4, and it's all Dodgers here in game 2. Budweiser, this Bud's for you. And by your local Volkswagen dealer. Dodgers Stadium sits in Chavez Ravine. Did not get here, though, without a fight. As Gonzalez leads it off against O. Some of the residents were willing to leave their homes. They were compensated for doing that back in the late 1950s. The sheriff department had to come in with a bulldozer and armed guards to get folks to leave their houses. Take a guess of what the last home sold for. Now, this is the 1950s in Los Angeles.
I don't know. That's going to be a tough one. I'm going to go with 100 grand.
$10,500.
It's a steal.
Keep this place pristine, clean, nice. 1-2 pitch to Gonzalez, who is homered tonight. And for Gonzalez, it happened in the 4th inning. 4th of the season, a 2-hit night. Our Nissan drive of the game. Say it all the time, when you don't hit, you look flat, and tonight the Cardinals only 3 hits. (5-1) Dodger lead. 2-2 pitch.
Do you know why it was called Chavez Ravine? I mean, do you really know why? Because I never did. Because we're not in a ravine, by the way.
I know. I knew that.
We're like on top of a mountain, pretty much. It was just named after someone. I just didn't know that.
Watch out. always hear about the travel of the Mariners. I've often wondered about the travel for these West Coast teams. You went through it with the Angels. Just how tough it is. We have it good at St. Louis. Centrally located, easy to get to either coast.
It is tough. It really is. I think the National League West is a little bit easier just because there's so many teams on the West Coast. But when you go east, it's tough.
There's a ground ball that's hit to first, and there's one away. Sungwon Oh, the Hyundai pitch arsenal.
Yasmani Grandal.
Yeah, it can't be easy, those flights to Philly, Boston, New York.
Well, you think about if, let's just say for the Angels, for example, the other night after a night game, they were only going to Seattle, which is not close, but what, 2 hours, maybe 2.5, if that. They probably didn't get in until 5:30 in the morning because of the longer game. Problem with the travel in Anaheim is that there's no airport close that stays open long enough. I think that John Wayne closes down around 11, maybe 10. They got to drive all the way to LA, and they got to load up the plane. And by the time they do that, that's 2 or 3 hours after they left the stadium, or after the game, I'm sorry. And then you got a 2.5-hour flight, and then you got to unload the plane and drive to the hotel.
What concerns me for the Cardinals, and we saw it after their trip to Arizona, got in late, then played the next day. It's usually not the next day, it's the day after. So the Cardinals play late tomorrow. They'll get in at 3:30, 4:30 in the morning, maybe 5. Off day on Monday, and then get after it on Tuesday. And it's not to say, well, we feel sorry for these guys. It's just a fact. Trying to get ready to play is tough to do. There's a strikeout of Yasmani Grandal, the switch hitting catcher.
I always found that just ignoring the hours and doing what you can do is the only way you can handle it. You can't think about how many hours you're going to sleep, when you're going to sleep. I tried to sleep on the plane a little bit. But if you sleep, you sleep. If you don't, you deal with it. Can't make an excuse.
Nope. Two outs and Jock Peterson.
It's really not too hard to get charged up for a Major League Baseball game once the anthem plays. It's all the time getting ready. Before that, you're dragging a little bit.
Joe Madden has gone to the point of just eliminating guys coming to the ballpark. He says, look, if you show up early, the doors will be locked to the clubhouse. We've instructed you, don't be here till 5, and doors will be locked until then. 0-2 the count on Jock Peterson. The shift on.
Notice that the last couple times they've shifted with 2 strikes, and that's something new for me. Try to take advantage of that.
Try to do it.
Played
with 2
right into their
strikes.
hands.
So a couple of strikeouts for O. 5-1 Dodgers. Last time we saw a complete game from Scott Kazmir. So he looks to go the distance here tonight. Brandon Moss leads it off, and it's 5-1 Dodgers. His 279th career start. Pitch count is at 103. Moss is hitless. 3 plate appearances tonight. The Cardinals just 3 hits. He struck out, flied out, and grounded out. Kenley Jansen is getting loose in the pen just in case. Closed out the game last night. And the 1-2. This copyrighted telecast is presented by the authority of the Cardinals. It may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form. And the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Cardinals. One out, nobody on. Yadier Molina was robbed by Puig back in the second inning. Flied to left and grounded to short. A 3-run fifth for the Dodgers. They have just 6 hits, but lead at 5-1. 1 ball, 1 strike.
Just keep going back to watching him pitch. Just keeps throwing pitches that look like they're hittable, and they just keep jumping right past the hitters.
Just wonder if he hides the ball more than we have seen.
Well, I just think everyone's different, and you can't see it from TV. You can't see it from in the stands. You got to go on what the hitters say.
That's hit out of play. Two balls and 2 strikes. Little chopper hit left side, and that rolls foul. Keep an eye on the pitch count at 111 for Kazmir.
JR is starting to get restless over there, Danny.
He's not the only one. John Reynolds featured with the Lordo's Diamonds cap.
Oh, yeah. I like it.
St. Louis native helping us here in the booth. The 2-2. There's JR that actually decided to do something.
He's going to take a picture of us right there and show everyone.
A couple of hops hit to short. Corey Seager. And Molina is out number 2. We turn to tonight's Budweiser player of the game, and why not? Scott Kazmir, 8 2/3.
Randall Grichuk.
As he's trying to go the distance against a team that has scored the most runs on the road of anybody in the major leagues to start this year.
Well, so far with 2 outs in the 9th, he's done a really good job. Like I said, he's thrown everything for strikes, and he's moved the ball around the entire night.
First pitch to Grichuk. Fouled back. Randall is 1 for 3, doubled inside the third base line. Struck out swinging in the second and again in the 5th. The fans urging on Kazmir. Two-one, up the middle and a base hit. Kazmir almost at it.
Easy for you to say.
Snuck under his glove. So if you're Dave Roberts at 117, do you go to your bullpen?
Hitter number 41, Jeremy
I like
Hazelbaker.
what I see with Randall. He's slowly getting back on track. You know, when you're hitting in the 200s, low 200s, you can't wait for a 4-for-4 game to get you back to 250. You just got to take your 1-for-3s, your 2-for-4s. You take a 1-for-4 if you have to. Just slowly work your way back into the mix.
Well, the decision now for Dave Roberts becomes, I would guess, a little bit easier with Hazelbaker pinch hitting. It's been good against lefties, but his lefty has been great.
Well, this will be his last hitter for sure.
1 ball, 1 strike.
And let me tell you, when you're on that bench or you're wearing a white uniform right now, you want him to finish this game. For the Cardinals, you want Hazelbaker to have a good at bat, get on base, and you never know what can happen. Get the closer in here and might start bouncing the ball all over the place.
Here's a 1-1 pitch. Hazelbaker drives it out to deep right. This baby is crushed and gone. It's now a 5-3 Dodgers lead. Hazelbaker off the bench with a 2-run homer.
Wow. That was a missile.
It's now 7 home runs and his 3rd as a pinch hitter.
That just goes to show you right there how much power he's got. That was all hands and just quick bat, quick swing, hit the ball in the barrel. Now it's on its way back to the infield.
Kazmir was inches away from fielding a ground ball off the bat of Grichuk and ending this game. Instead, extended to Hazelbaker, hits a 2-run homer. Ball is crushed. 5-3 Dodgers. That's Jansen. He's got 12 saves this year. He was so close, Kazmir, to finishing this game off. Then Hazelbaker with this drive into the bleachers and right. Reaction to Kazmir, he knew it. No. 15 innings, 7 hits allowed. That's it. And a 143 average against Jansen this year. Diaz trying to extend the game. Adams is at the on-deck circle. First pitch fouled back. This is our Chevy called to the pin. Aledmys Diaz grounded into a fielder's choice, walked and then grounded out to short. The pinch hitting numbers for the Cardinals have been ridiculous this year. The best in baseball. 8 pinch hit home runs. The 0-2. And the Dodgers will look for a sweep tomorrow.
A tough 5th inning, got him 3 runs. Had a chance to stay close, but offense came around late. Thought that if it wasn't for that 5th inning, Carlos Martinez did a great job, but Scott Kazmir did an amazing job tonight.
8 2/3 for their starter. Jansen gets the final out. The postgame show is next. The final of 5-3. Our next televised game will be Tuesday in St. Louis. Postgame show next.